Strait of Hormuz lay shrouded in pre-dawn darkness, a corridor of water that controlled the lifeblood of global oil. Over 3,800 commercial vessels were stranded outside the narrow channel, while 310 oil tankers sat idle, their crews watching the horizon, helpless. The economic hemorrhage was staggering. $38 billion lost each week as trade ground to a halt. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard's fleet of fiberglass speedboats, each barely 15 meters long, cut through the mist at 68 knots, armed with duct-taped RPGs and rocket launchers. Their low silhouettes merged with the fishing vessels scattered along the narrow channel, invisible to the untrained eye until it was too late. On the surface, the U.S. Navy's two carrier strike groups loomed, 8 Aegis destroyers bristling with $42 billion worth of firepower. Yet the vast arsenal seemed almost impotent against these small, fast-moving targets. Missiles cost millions each, over 4,500 vessels swarming, and still the strait remained closed. The water was glassy, reflecting the faint first light of morning. Silence dominated, punctuated only by the distant hum of engines. For weeks, the most powerful blue water navy in history had been trapped in a high-stakes stalemate, watching the clock tick, watching the world bleed, powerless to stop the swarm. Weeks passed, and the strait remained a trap. The IRGC speedboats multiplied, 1,600 in total, each built for less than $45,000 but capable of catastrophic damage. Their swarms darted between 3,900 civilian vessels, invisible until rockets ignited the horizon. Every attempt by the U.S. Navy to strike cost millions, $5.7 million per SM-6 missile, and often failed to hit a single target. Destroyers launched salvo after salvo, but reload times and the sheer number of enemy boats made victory impossible. The strait was effectively a parking lot of immobilized commerce. 95% of global tanker traffic halted. Oil prices spiked overnight, adding $12 per barrel to the world market, threatening energy crises across Asia, Europe, and North America. The narrow waters exposed a cruel reality. The Navy's advanced technology, built for open ocean dominance, struggled in shallow, crowded waters. Precision missiles became an inefficient scalpel against a flood of fast-moving fiberglass. Silence settled each night over the water, broken only by distant engines and faint radio chatter. The world watched in disbelief as billions of dollars evaporated with every missed strike. If you want to follow the full story of how a single aircraft would turn the tide, make sure to hit subscribe and stay updated with the most in-depth military analysis. On November 14, 2027, just before dawn, 4 A-10 Warthogs roared into the skies above the Strait of Hormuz. Their GAU-8 Avenger 30mm cannons, capable of firing 3,900 rounds per minute, glinted in the dim light. Each round cost only $140, less than a single salvo from a Navy missile, but the destructive force was absolute. Alongside Maverick AGM-65 missiles and 76 APKWS rockets, the aircraft were a lethal swarm in the air. The Warthogs cruised low, slicing through the mist at 280 knots, their shadows stretching across the water. Below, the IRGC speedboats raced at 70 knots, unaware of the predators above. Within seconds, fiberglass hulls disintegrated under precise bursts. Engines split, fuel tanks ignited, entire formations obliterated. The cost was astonishingly low, each engagement under $10,000 compared to the Navy's $5 million per missile. For the first time, the balance of power shifted. The speedboats could no longer hide among civilian vessels. Each movement was tracked, each maneuver anticipated. The dawn light revealed the scale of the devastation. Over 45 boats destroyed in the first 36 hours. The remaining fleet frozen in port, silent and powerless. The Warthogs had transformed the impossible into reality, proving that a 40-year-old aircraft could outperform the most advanced naval arsenal. Over the next 72 hours, the A-10s maintained relentless patrols. Every fiberglass speedboat that dared to leave port was tracked, targeted, and destroyed. In total, 68 IRGC vessels were annihilated, 8 more disabled and captured by Navy boarding teams. The average cost per kill was a mere $61,000, an 85-fold reduction compared to the Navy's earlier attempts. The operation was not only air power. Army Apaches patrolled the Iranian coastline from expeditionary sea bases, striking staging areas before the boats could launch. Navy destroyers provided missile defense farther offshore, protecting the carriers from any potential threats. 3 branches, 1 battle space, each applying their weapons in perfect synergy. The psychological impact was immediate. The swarm tactics that had tormented the strait for weeks collapsed. Speedboats froze in port, crews unwilling to move, aware that a Warthog would be overhead in seconds. Civilian traffic cautiously resumed, commerce began to flow. Again, and the global oil market stabilized. Prices dropped $9 per barrel within 48 hours. The dawn revealed a silent, empty channel, once a battlefield, now controlled. The effectiveness of coordinated, precise strikes was undeniable. The lessons were clear. The right tool, used at the right time, could achieve what billions in advanced technology could not. By mid-November 2027, the Strait of Hormuz was open once more. Commercial traffic resumed, oil tankers glided through the channel, and the global economy breathed again. The IRGC fleet remained physically intact in port, yet its operational capability was effectively neutralized. The psychological message was undeniable. No swarm, no speed, no surprise could escape the watchful eye of the A-10 Warthog. The cost efficiency was staggering. Each destroyed speedboat averaged $61,000 compared to $5.7 million per missile in prior Navy attempts. Over 72 hours, the A-10s had eliminated 68 boats and disabled 8 more. A small fleet rendered harmless at a fraction of the cost. The global market regained stability, with oil prices dropping $11 per barrel within 48 hours, saving billions in potential economic losses. Yet the operation highlighted a looming challenge. The youngest A-10 airframe was 43 years old. Plans to replace it with F-35s or MQ-9 Reapers could not match its endurance, survivability, or the GAU-8's devastating firepower. Without a suitable replacement, the lessons of Hormuz might fade with the aircraft. The operation proved that strategy and suitability outweigh sheer technological advancement. In the narrow, crowded waters of the strait, a 40-year-old aircraft outperformed multi-million-dollar missiles, showing that the right tool, in the right hands, can change the course of history. Stay informed on stories the mainstream misses. Subscribe now to follow in-depth military analysis and witness how history is made in real time.